Well, like I said earlier, I mean, the Rays have good attorneys, great attorneys. They know they have a contract. Contract law says that when somebody breaks a bargain with you, you are entitled to receive what it was you bargained for. So the city has an agreement that the Rays are going to be there till 2027. And the bond issue gets paid off in 2016. If the Rays were to break the contract today, and move for next season, let's say, the economic damages that the Rays would be liable for to pay to the city would be much more specific because the bond issue needs to be paid off and there's some actual financial values that are tied to the next 4 or 5 years until the bonds are paid off. After 2016, the measure of damages or the measure of what the Rays would owe to the city for breaking their bargain becomes a lot more difficult because now what you're talking about is trying to define what the economic impact of the Rays is. That's a lot more subjective type measurement than the bond issue financing and those kinds of things, which can be quantified pretty specifically. When you start getting into, what is the overall economic impact that the Rays have on the city, it's a lot more subjective and more difficult. Now, that may be an advantage. The Rays may see that as an advantage. I don't know. Because the law requires that when you're measuring damages for breaking a contract, that the measurement be pretty finite and that there be a good basis for it in terms of calculations and numbers. So when you start getting into subjective areas of value, that becomes difficult, and that would be an advantage for the Rays. But I don't think there's any question that the economic value that the Rays have to the city is probably we're measuring in hundreds of millions of dollars, not 50, 60. I think
in the tens of millions.
Not in the tens, it's in the hundreds, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I think most importantly, people should inform themselves as much as possible. Like I mentioned earlier, the what seems to be most on people's mind is, are you going to use my tax money? The question of the Rays staying in St. Petersburg and the Rays being important to St. Petersburg's emotional well-being and the esprit de corps that the Rays bring. I've been at the San Diego Zoo and seen people with a Tampa Bay Rays hat on. You immediately make a connection with people. Just the emotional investment that our community has in the team that brings us all together and gives us something to talk about and something to root for and something to feel good about, like any sports team. That is something that I think we need to marshal and get people to understand and inform those people as best as we can as what the alternatives are, what other financing is available besides tax money, why St. Pete is better than Tampa. We have so much more to offer than Tampa and Hillsborough County in terms of amenities and the energy and enthusiasm that's going on over here. And I think we need to marshal that all up and get people to understand how important it is to the community.